Hey there YouTube, welcome back to another Black Powder update. I finished my next unit, and it's basically the last part of the division that you can see behind me here, the Grenadiers or Pede division. So I finished my last battery that I needed, and now I've completed that whole division. So what I thought I'd do is I'll go down to the workbench first and I'll show you the battery, and then depending on how much energy I've got, I'll either show you them just on my painting desk because I haven't got the energy to actually carry them through to put them on my table, or I will gather up energy and put them take them through because they're going to be quite difficult to carry. I have actually got them mounted on like pieces of wood, which will help me carry in half the division at the time, but only having one hand, I have to be really careful because obviously I don't want to stumble and tip half the forces off the board. So it's going to be a lot of it's going to be quite hard for me to actually get these boys into the other room to put them up on my gaming table. But if I don't do that, I will do it at some point. Just to sort of show you them all on the table. But what I might do is, if I don't get into the other room straight away, I'll do them like half at a time. So like I'll do like the Imperial Guard part, and then I'll do the Middle Guard part, and then at the end I'll just do a quick overview of the Marines, which were kind of a little side project that aren't really part of that particular division. So without further ado, we'll go down to the workbench and I'll show you the battery. As you can see, I have temporarily lifted the bow protection from behind me. There's all my cavalry up there. You can see there's quite a few of them. That is the 11th for the French, and the 1st and the 4th for the British. Obviously the 1st is finished, the 4th is waiting for a unit, and the French Dragoons are waiting for the 11th there. Let's. Bo is actually just off to the side over there. So she's not actually sitting on me today, but she's quite content. But other than that, let's go down to the table. I'll show you the battery. Okay, welcome back to the workbench. And as you can see, here is the last finished battery, and I'll give you the blurb on them. These guys are the wrong one. That's on this one. The Auxiliary Marine Field Artillery 1st Company 1st Battery, and they're led by a Captain Bernard. Although that is a little bit of a question mark about that, because I actually managed to find it while doing. I actually found out there was a bit of conflicting evidence between this particular field battery. The Marine Field Artillery is noted down in the Waterloo Companion. On the St John site, they've actually got down a field artillery company, which of course is not Marines. Now the other thing is that when I searched around for another couple of orders of battle, they actually had question marks under the auxiliary. They just had auxiliary battery question mark. So there seems to be a little bit of controversy around exactly what this battery was. But because I'm a bit of a fan of the Marines, I decided to go with the Waterloo Companion over the St John site. But just out of, I don't know if you'd be interested in this, but I did actually find that you can actually find the Imperial Guard on the St John site. You just have to approach it a different way. So I'll just quickly show you how to do that. So basically, instead of going to units, which is the normal way you'd find a unit to paint, instead you go to organisation, which is the one to the left of it. So there's your units, there's the organisations, and then you select the Army of the North. So that's that one there. So there, now you have access to the army, the order of battle. So then you have your corps, and then obviously towards the bottom you have the Imperial Guard. Let's just bring that up. Hold on. Here we go, Imperial Guard. Select that, and then you have your organisation. So then we want Division of Grenadiers, and then you have your division. So there's your first guard, second guard. Then we have the third and the fourth, which are middle guard, and then we have the artillery, the brigade artillery, and the one that you want is the so let's just go for a normal Imperial Guard. So this is the 5th company. This is the battery that's attached to the Imperial Guard, and there we go. So 5th company, regiment of foot, Imperial Guard, and you can select uniforms as normal, and you get your normal uniform guide up as normal. Now if we just go back to the main screen, here we have the one of the controversies. So we have artillery of foot auxiliary question mark, and if you go into it, they just give you a generic foot artillery uniform troops, which is probably not right, I would say. I mean, I'm pretty sure that I think the whole sort of why they actually went for this uniform is because they're saying that because they're an auxiliary unit, they're attached too late for them to be issued Imperial Guard artillery uniforms. So because from what I'd read before in my Imperial Guard book is that any auxiliary units that were attached to Imperial Guard were issued with Imperial Guard uniforms. So they just basically look like Imperial Guard foot artillery, just the same. Now that's not to say that perhaps some of them might have Shakos rather than the bearskin hats, but again, there's no. I couldn't find any sort of conflicting evidence to say whether they did or they didn't. So that's why I decided to actually go for Imperial Guard, an Imperial Guard artillery unit to represent these guys. Now, like I say, I went for. Now I'm not sure if this is just a generic foot artillery unit, because obviously there was a question mark. I don't know, but like I say, I went for the Marines, and that's what I'm happy with. So obviously it's up to you if you want to go for a different unit. Anyway, that's how you find Imperial Guard in the St. John website. So let's just go back and get out of the way, and we'll go in for a closer look at these boys. So these guys are Warlord Imperial Guard foot artillery. Now, obviously, when I ordered these guys, I ordered them to be. I wanted them to stand out over Parry's, because I've just about got every unit of artillery you can get from Parry's, I believe. Even though I've only got one unit of actual guard artillery, I wanted them to sort of stand out, even though they're in like Marine. Even though they're a Marine unit. Obviously, they're dressed in the same guard uniforms. So I thought, well, for a change, I'll go for a Warlord battery, because at the end of the day, at least the different sculpts will stand out over the Parry's, and of course Warlord are just that little bit chunkier than Parry's in some ways, so that, they'll definitely stand out, but not enough, obviously, as if they're out of scale or something, but enough that you can easily tell them on the battlefield. Now, when they actually came, it appears that Warlord wheels are considerably bigger than Perry's guns. Now, just to show that off, I've actually got one of the other guard batteries from their first from the guards part of the artillery, and you can see that there is quite a sizable difference. If I move the camera down, actually I can't move it down any further. Hold on. I'll just take it off the. There we go. So you can see that the wheels come up probably a good, I don't know what that would be, but probably a good ½ inch above the wheels on the Perrys. Maybe not ½ inch, but quite a significant difference when you look carefully at them. Now it doesn't really make too much difference, and you know, I certainly wouldn't, if I had to have a Warlord and a Perry's battery. I don't think it really makes any difference. I mean, the crews scale up well enough together, and I think that's what really counts. And the actual size difference, I mean, I think the Perry's actual carriage is just a little bit less width than the Warlord one. The Warlord one just might be a little bit taller, but again, it's so minuscule that it's not really, you don't really notice it, to tell the truth. And I certainly wouldn't have any bother if I did have to have a Warlord one and a Perry's one together in a battery. So it's nothing really to worry about, but there is definitely a little bit of size difference between the cannons. Let's just move the Perry's one out of the way. And so basically, when I ordered these guys, I ordered them in a battery deal. Obviously I ended up getting them from Warlord after the whole sort of Wayland Games fiasco. And I got actually a battalion deal, so you basically got one of each pose within that they do, basically. Now the thing that was a little bit annoying was that ideally I wanted one howitzer and one gun, but unfortunately you could either order howitzers or a gun, so I kind of had no choice. But again, it's not the end of the world. So we have two normal 6-pounders, and the two positions, you can see that on one cannon, these guys are moving the gun into position, and you obviously get 4 crew, and on this particular base we have one extra Perry's guy on there. This is actually one guy from the extra field artillery kit. The extra field artillery crew, and you can see that these guys are basically assisting moving the back of the carriage, and these guys here are actually moving the gun forward. They're kind of moving it, adjusting it forward, while these two guys move the tail. And then we have the it's kind of like, you can imagine like it's a little section, and the rest of the crew are off to the side or around the back where the stand cuts off, because obviously it's not a full crew. But it's nice to have that extra. I managed to sink that extra figure in, and just to add a little homage to that whole sort of mixture of artillery fiasco, you know, whether it's actually the Marine battery or not, I decided to put a guy in with a Shaco, just to show that if they didn't have Imperial Guard gear, that there is one guy there who is in normal field artillery gear. But to tell the difference, there's very little difference between the two. The fact that the Guard artillery would have obviously Imperial Guard eagles and stuff on their brass works and on their coattails and stuff, and the normal guys just have the Grenadier symbol. But other than that, they'd look exactly the same. So this is the first gun. I wasn't too hot about this position at first, but once it's all together it doesn't look too bad. I wouldn't say it's my favourite position ever, but it will do. So that is the moving gun. I went for a sort of a very basic stand this time. So there's the first gun and the second gun. These guys are ready to fire, And again, a little bit of an odd crew setup for these boys. So you'd think that if you have a gun firing, you'd have your match guy, you have your guy who fixes the fuse, and then you'd either have like the actual guy that the actual like NCO, who's in charge of sighting and firing the gun, or you would have the assistant to the sponger, who normally stands on this side of the gun, to give you that sort of element of the crew. But for some bizarre reason, they give you this fifth or sixth guy down the line, who actually comes up with the artillery ball to load it. So now I suppose you could say that he could be like the assistant sponger guy holding the ball, because I do believe that they kind of hand it off to him, and he actually puts the ball into the chamber, or into the barrel. But it's a little bit. I mean, I suppose he could be kind of stood there, but I decided to make him like the next guy up the line, and actually have this guy fictionally standing off to the side, because obviously on these slightly smaller bases that I use for 6-pounders, it's a little bit of a squeeze to try and get the actual side figures on. Now you can see that these guys are a little bit muddy around the feet, and this particular guy has got a little bit of mud on his arm that's rubbed off from the wheel of the gun. And other than that, they're kind of ready to they have the officer on this particular stand, and that's actually the commanding officer. So that's that Captain, what's his name again? Captain Bernard. And that's the front rank, another one of those front rank artillery officers. And now all these guys are, apart from the front rank guy, the Warlord guys. We have this guy here who looks more like he's about to, that he could well be from the Wizarding World, ready to cast a spell rather than hold a match, because there's obviously no form of fire on the end of that. It looks more like a wand, but we'll live with that. I mean, I suppose I could have put a little bit of fire on the end, but there's actually nothing to actually indicate that there's a match on the end of that. It's just a stick. But other than that, they're pretty good. Pretty good set of guns. The Warlord ones, definitely overpriced. I mean, I got them for £22 for two, which makes them £11 each. But their normal price is I think it's over £12. I'm not 100% sure. Or is it just £12? I think it might, perhaps it's £12. I would say £12, and be kind if it's not. Yeah, I do think that £12 for a gun, when you can get £9 for a gun, £9 or £9.50 for a gun from Parry's, I think it's £9.50 actually, is a little bit pricey. They're certainly no better than Parry's, and I think Parry's crew positions are overall better. But at the same point, I'm perfectly happy with them. And like I say, the main reason that I got them was to stand out rather than to actually be better value. So that is the Marine Field Auxiliary Battery for the Division or PED. Now, I'll just say a little bit of blurb at the end here. Thank you to a whole bunch of new subscribers. I think I've had seven subscribers within the last month. So I'm slowly starting to creep up towards 480, I think. So 500. I said to myself that if I could reach, I mean, obviously my ultimate goal is to beat my friend, who's now up to 500. I'm back to being way over 100 behind him. I don't think I'll be doing that this year. But it will be nice to reach 400 this year. as a sort of a more minor goal, because at the end of the day, I haven't, this isn't a mainstream YouTube channel. I mean, I'm sure half you guys don't even bother watching the entirety of my videos. You probably just skip through them or listen to them while you're painting or something. So really, I suppose really at the end of the day, it's there for my reference. It's a good way of going back and watching your old videos and just seeing what you've painted. But anyway, that's enough waffle. We'll be back with a I can't think I'll actually go for a painting desk overview of the Division this time round, and I do promise that I will do an on the table, on my gaming table overview of them, all set up together. But at least this way you do get a kind of a good look at them close in, because when they're up on the table, it's kind of difficult to actually zoom in on the unit and actually go in and show you the detail. So see you in a minute with the first part of the completed Grenadiers or P Division. So I'll catch you in a second. Bye bye.